Hi, everyone, and welcome to Transform Your Fleet Management webinar. I'm Madeline Roberts, and I'm here on the Wind Systems team, and I'm thrilled to be with you all today. If you have any questions during today's webinar, please feel free to use the hand-raising feature or drop them in the Q&A tab. I'll keep an eye out for your questions and ask them throughout the webinar. To tailor today's session, we wanted to set up a quick poll just to gauge the logistics that are currently being used in your operations. And this will just help us tweak the presentation as needed. So I'm going to pop that poll up. And if you don't mind taking a few minutes just to answer those quickly. While you answer the poll, I'd love to introduce our hosts for today. We have Jimmy Wilcock and Farah Noshirwani. Farah is our product manager for logistics solutions. She brings a product-focused approach to logistics, driving innovation and collaboration with the team to stay ahead of market trends. And a familiar face to many of you all, we have Jimmy. He is our customer success manager for RentalResult and EquipFlows. Before when Jimmy worked for 13 years in the construction industry, where he managed a diverse range of equipment, from the tiniest tools to the largest cranes. Jimmy had done it all. We are so happy to have them both here to lead the discussion on how you can optimize logistics within your organization. So now with that, let's go over some of our poll answers. It looks like some of our attendees today are still using Excel, or they don't have a logistics solution in place quite yet. And for the biggest challenges in managing logistics in construction projects is inventory management. So thanks everyone for filling that out. And from here, I'm going to hand it over to Jimmy, where he's going to kick off the webinar.
Thank you, Madeline. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody out there across the world. Thanks very much for joining us today on February's webinar. So we are taking a look today at logistics and logistics solution. So we have developed a new application, a new product that's available within our product range. But today we really want to kind of just dissect and go into the why around that. So why have we decided to create a solution? What does it mean? And what is it going to do? And how is it going to impact the customers that use it? So in terms of agenda today, we're going to take a little look at the current state of play with the economic impact. So a little bit of the world economy, just to throw some light on that. We're going to look at some tracking methods, and then we're going to take a look at team communications. So how well we can communicate effectively, both manually and through digitized formats. And then we're going to take a look at how empowering logistics through making informed decisions can play a key part of anybody's business. And then we'll open the floor up for some Q&A before we wrap up here today. Okay, so what's going on out there in the world, in the economy? The world's a little bit on fire at the moment. There's a lot of instability. There's a lot of uncertainty, which is kind of rocking the markets around the world. We've got inflation, which is really high at the moment. In many countries, we've still got the impact from the global pandemic still playing a role. And if you're staying close to global news and global politics, the UK industry has just gone back into recession again. So that was breaking news today. So there's still a lot of uncertainty which are rocking the markets out there. So we're all seeing that from a personal standpoint, but also from a business standpoint as well. Cost of materials, cost of fuel, cost of parts to fix trucks. Our labor costs are up. Our driver rates are going up, and there's this big, competition and for rates. So everything's been squeezed. Everybody's bottom lines are being put under pressure. So all of these kind of components coming together are leading us into an overall kind of risk of elevated costs for our businesses. As you can see, we've added 5 highlights on some of the operational challenge which can come from instability in markets and in the economy. So we've got elevated transportation costs. As we mentioned, cost of fuel goes up. So if we're running trucks for longer during the day. We're having to go and do many more stops than we really want to. It's all going on the cost. We've got an increase on the carbon footprint based on that. So everyone's trying at the moment their very best to stick to carbon footprint metrics and trying to reduce those as much as they can. And we have an overstretched driver team, and that can give us a number of issues. So we can have drivers, they're restricted on their hours that they can log on a certain day. They have to stick to strict guidelines around when they have their breaks. So we have to be really clever how we optimize their routes, and make sure that we get a good yield out of the hours that we've got them working on a day-to-day basis. And then, if we're finding that we're going further afield for things, or we're having to put extra routes in, then we have an extension in the time it takes for us to deliver or pick things up. So that has a knock-on effect as well. So, and then we have the escalating, haulage costs associated with that. So, there's a lot there to go at. So I guess, Farah, how can we begin to start addressing some of those issues?
Thanks, Jimmy. Good day, everyone. So there are various ways that we can, optimize our logistics, maximize our efficiencies. I think the fundamental aspect of enhancing a logistics operation is route planning. Traditionally, dispatchers have relied, manually searching on Google what would be the best routes for a driver to take, or we depend on, expertise of seasoned personnel in the industry to, determine effective routes because they've been doing it for so long. And this usually falls short of achieving optimal efficiency, or you usually, relying on one person to do a lot of tasks. So implementing a route planning system allows, planning solutions can lead to significant improvements with business. So usually businesses, when, they start using softwares to do route plannings, experience about a 20% reduction in miles driven. It also helps reduce empty miles potentially from time to time to allow you to know where exactly your loads, etc. are as well. And they not only, these algorithms not only help, minimize your fuel consumption, but it also helps reduce your environmental impacts. And, based on some research being done, it usually, implementing a technology to help you do that can approximately decrease fuel usage by 10 to 12%. So that's a direct relation between, strategic route planning and environment sustainability. The other part to it is using dynamic scheduling, and it's transformative in your logistics operation because it allows you better visualization of your driver's assignments. It not only allows you simple drag and drop, but has you ability to see, if you're planning a particular route and, it's not feasible to do, the system's going to alert you on it. And it also helps you, see your driver's particular availability for the day. So, this leads to a more improvement in driver utilizations, and companies adopting technologies to help them that. I've seen about a 15% increase in driver productivity. It also enables you to allow a higher volume of deliveries to be completed without having to necessarily expand your workforce or extend their hours by using a little, more accurate planning tool. And based on some of the research, companies that have implemented, logistics softwares have been able to streamline their delivery operations. Not only have they been able to do more, orders within the same number of drivers, a lot of companies have been able to identify, some of the patterns where they can reduce their sub-hauling or their outside hauler. So this not only helps optimize resources, but also helps reduce your operation costs. So it's a very invaluable tool for companies, offering a clear path to, efficiency, scaling delivery capabilities, and ultimately helping it achieve a competitive edge. The other thing that would help is a holistic view of the scheduler, allowing somebody to go on a screen and just looking at what the driver's task would look like for the day, see what an availability is, if an urgent task come in, spot bottlenecks, predict potential delays, and it just schedules proactively, ensures a smooth operational flow. Planning efficiencies improve by about 20% in organizations doing that. And it also has real-time tracking and planning and execution. And it, helps you reduce the risk of disruptions and, a more reliable service for your customers. The other thing that, I touched about a little bit earlier was the ability to assign instant loads to your customers. So, sometimes there could be scenarios where, your drivers have completed the loads earlier than planned for a particular day. You plan an equipment being dropped off taking longer, but your driver was able to do it more efficiently. Or they get to a job site and, the customer says, hey, I'm not ready for pickup today. I'd like some more time. So they do have availability in their schedule because of the rescheduling, etc. So this technology not only allows you for quick reassignments or route adjustments, it eliminates empty miles, idle time, and also helps your driver productivity. And it also keeps instant communication. So in the case where, you need paper communications or you need to give drivers exact information, all of that can be done by sending an order to the driver and them getting the information on their mobile app. So it's a dynamic and responsive way to, potentially reduce inefficiencies and optimize things. So, it helps reduce your driver's idle time. It helps streamline your operations. It helps you assign urgent orders that may come in and, helps, meet customer expectations. And the other thing that can be done is using a dispatching solutions. You can help reduce your shipping expenses. It not only provides you detailed insights into, cost aspects. It can go from, even identifying courier charges to delivery charges and trying to make decisions based on the insights available. So, usually companies have seen, reduced in cost by about 10% when they have data available to review that. So, just a couple of things from efficiency standpoint. Jimmy, do you want to go ahead and talk about some of the tracking methods?
Yeah, thanks for that, Farah. That's really, really good insight into some of those key features that can speak to some of those points in the first section. So let's move on. Let's start taking a look at one of the other things that we really wanted to try and address with logistics solution, and this is around outdated tracking methods. Now, if we take a look at the poll that we did at the beginning, I think Madeline said that the majority of you guys out there are still using manual methods to track logistics and fleet. So, we're talking Excel, maybe paper, maybe whiteboards. And then when we push that further into the second part of the question, which is, the key area was around the inventory management side. So when we talk about outdated tracking methods, we've seen firsthand and had many conversations with customers as we've been around the world visiting and having conversations about what matters to you, what the challenges are that you're currently facing in your day-to-day workload. What's really hurting your productivity. So we have seen this as well. So I think those poll results really do resonate through with what we've kind of seen. Whiteboard, spreadsheets, offline silo methods to track and manage, equipment as well as fleet, trucks, driver route plans. So, and that gives us a little bit of a problem, and this is something we wanted to try and address. So, logistics is complicated, relies on a lot of components coming together. Trucks can change because, you come in the morning and it won't start, or there's something wrong with it. It's now out of compliance, even down to things like the light bulb going. Unforeseen problems that, didn't exist the night before. So you come into your day's already a challenge because you've got a truck down. You may need to make a driver change. The driver calls in sick, or, we have unknowns. How do we plan for the unknown? It's very difficult, but there's methods and there's things that can be put in place to mitigate that, so we can actually move at speed and make the right decisions and actually communicate as well more effectively. So an example of that would be, if a customer called a sales rep for a status update, and we didn't have an update for them on the phone. So, all of a sudden we're in the realms of, we'll call you back, or we'll send you an email, or send you a text. And then perhaps when we put the phone down, we have to go through multiple layers to get to the answer. So the salesperson may have to call a dispatcher, the dispatcher may have to call the driver, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of complexities that go into, even some of the most simplest of tasks. So, we see real bottlenecks there. We see people really, struggling on a time basis. It always against the clock is a phrase I've heard a lot in the last few months. So it's time consuming. A lot of these processes that we've got here takes a lot of time, and they're not easy. So it's frustrating as well. So, in terms of retention of people as well, how do we make their lives easier so they stay in this role, in this industry, and they don't get stressed and they don't move away. So, so looking at some of the points you've got on the screen, some of the main points, you've got missed deadlines, which is a big problem for not just customers, but for end clients, the people on the project. So if we're missing deliveries, what does that mean? If you can't get out there till tomorrow, well, it means the project's delayed by another day. Does that have a knock-on effect to subcontractors and the other teams? We have, inefficient fleet management. So are we really optimizing the best use of the drivers, the best use of the trucks, the best use of sub-haulers? So many of us are using sub-haulers, and we'll come on and talk a little bit more about sub-haulers. A lack of real-time tracking. So we spoke about, customer calls up, where's my stuff? I don't know. Let me call the driver. And then, if we're able to provide that in real time up front, maybe we're sending updates, that type of thing. What does that mean to the overall relationship with the customers? What does that mean to the overall efficiency of the fleet? So, and then we mentioned around the heightened staff workload and the errors, it can lead to, many mistakes. It's costly, can cost us in the pocket. And it can cost, people to leave, walk away from the job that they love because it becomes stressful. So, and then finally, it comes down to our ability to scale a growth. So the business grows overnight. How can we scale the size of it? If we added another 5 trucks to the fleet, what does that mean? Do we need to employ a small army to manage that? So, I guess from that, Farah, do you want to take over and maybe try and address some of these points?
Sure. Thanks, Jimmy. So I think allowing real-time tracking and allowing the visibility to the entire team on where the orders are, what the statuses are, it not only helps, reduce some of the workload, it helps streamline your fleet operations. A software with kind of live updates on your vehicle locations, your statuses, your delivery schedules allows, a streamlined approach. Companies statistically have seen about a 15%, improvement in operational costs and reduction in operational costs, thanks to optimized routing, dispatching. It also helps increase your staff efficiency. The lack of real-time, has caused inefficiencies, has caused errors. Implementing a solution, enhances that. Automating tasks such as route planning, dispatching, getting delivery updates. One doesn't forget, a delivery that was particularly promised to a customer, or, in the case that, they got distracted because they had a lot of other things going. They forgot to write the delivery update on the whiteboard. So it helps reduce all of that. It helps, it causes an improvement in operational efficiency because somebody doesn't have to go manually do that. The system is helping you achieve that. It helps reduce manual errors in, typing out the address, typing instructions, and it allows your staff to focus on more strategic, tasks, strategic directions, and focus on more of that. Another aspect is the data-driven insights. Without real-time tracking, you might miss out on, valuable insights. A software solution offers you, comprehensive analytical and reporting tools. It allows you to do better decision-making. So, for example, a company leveraging such information can see about a 25% improvement in delivery times, a 10% increase in customer satisfaction because, you're identifying trends, you're identifying when your customers requested particular items to be delivered. You can track that you're on track to deliver them. And this data can also help you, determine what the prioritizations are, what are your customer promise loads, and having a full dashboard view can add more value to your operations. And again, like Jimmy mentioned, missed deadlines are a common consequence of outdated tracking. So a software solution provides a benefit of, defined delivery dates, having all the information in one place. It improves your reliability and your service quality. And it also causes a significant reduction in late deliveries. And some companies have experienced about a 40% improvement in some cases in on-time delivery rates. And then again, Jimmy talked about limited scalability. So, limited scalability hampers growth. And a solution that allows flexible user interface, adapts to the challenging and changing needs of the business, and it supports scalability. Whether you're currently, decentralized dispatching, having multiple dispatchers on the same system, kind of coordinating their loads, or getting to the point where, you're centralized dispatching, all your information is in one place, and having the ability to have dashboards and visualizations to allow that flexibility, allowing each user to set in their own preference, and, different user groups having different views for them. For example, your salespeople can have the ability to see only their loads, or your project managers can have ability to see what they need for their project job sites as well. And this adaptability has caused about a improvement in operational and also efficiency for users, about a 35% response rate to market changes, customer demands as well. So a lot of these real-time tracking helps you from a business not only stay up to date, not only keep your customers up to date, but also help grow and scale your business. Jimmy?
Thanks for that, Farah. That's brilliant. So I think let's move on again, and let's take a look at communication and team communication. So I just wanted to take a moment here to really think about that, really think about what that means for, I guess, for any business and any department in that business, and how crucial a role communication is, especially where we have multi-layered business processes. And let's say, for instance, each component of that is being handled in a different software or a different way. So I know I've seen many warehouses, and I used to operate warehouses where we had paper-based processes, and we had whiteboards, and not to mention the amount of paper we were using on a day-to-day basis, which is something we need to really all be, I guess, mindful of nowadays. But how do we actually get information across to the right people in a timely manner? If I have to go to an office and print something out and walk it half a mile to take it to someone else, then deciphers what's on that piece of paper and then maybe communicates that to somebody else. We can start to lose some of that clarity in the messaging that we're sending across by using that. And I guess same with whiteboards as well. They're very good for a visualization. We can see what's on the whiteboard. We can see what the plans are. If they change, we scrub them out and we write them on. Can everybody see them? Does everybody know that that's happened? We can write on a whiteboard, but it perhaps doesn't give us an alarm, or doesn't alert anything to anyone to tell them something's changed. So how do we get information across to the right people at the right time? Is something that I think resonates across a lot of departments. So I think in a technological standpoint, we're talking many calls, many emails, texts. People may use WhatsApp group chats. There are methods in which you can communicate things, but again, these are all in silos and not being held centrally. So making sure from an internal team's perspective, how can they work to the best of their ability? And that's drivers, coordinators, office staff, whoever, sub-haulers. Where do they fit into this? It's not, with everything that's going on out there in the world, we know there's a driver shortage in the logistics realm. So it's natural to assume that sub-haulers become a big part of most companies' day-to-day running. So how do we communicate back and forth with third parties? So it's really not difficult to see kind of where communications can break down, which can lead on to things that, as we've already discussed, so missed or late deliveries. If we have to send another truck out because we forgot something, it's more fuel, it's more hours, more driver hours, more fuel being used, more strain on the truck. So we're kind of burning through profit again with those type of scenarios. So, this is all in a lack of, in an environment, there is a lack of skilled drivers, as I've mentioned, so that reliance on the third parties may be, more in some companies than others, but it's still there, and sub-haulers, they're used in large parts by many, and they have a big role to play. But where do we draw the line with effective communication with the subhaulers? Checking in, where are they? Have they completed this delivery? And are they on to the next one? Again, we can add those complexities in. So we have to start thinking about where we can work smarter to protect our bottom line as a business. But all the while, we have to get closer to subhaulers, right? And they have to be considered in the communication chain. So we want to address things like the communication silos. We want to address the fact that things are being managed on too many different platforms, whether that's manually or in technological terms. A breakdown in communication with subhaulers, paperwork overload, is a big problem still. And then how can we manage things like damage disputes? So we'll come on and we will talk a little bit about the damage process. So this is big in the equipment world. And, if we drop something off, do we take a photo of it? When we pick something up, do we take a photo of it to book in that process? If we have a dispute, it went out clean, it came back full of concrete. We need to be able to prove that it went out clean and it came back dirty, and there's a cleaning charge, or somebody dented something by running over it. We need to have that accountability. And, this is something that caused me a lot of pain in the past, just tackling and dealing with disputes where people don't want to pay for damage that they say they didn't do. But if the evidence is there, if we have a platform and somewhere where we can actually record it, time and date stamp it, and get signatures for things, then that makes that process so much easier to validate, because the evidence is there and it's clean. If we're using a manual process for that, it's not so much how do they take the photo, how do they get the photo to us. All of these problems are there that need to be addressed in today's world. So Farah, how do we start to unpack all of that?
Thanks, Jimmy. I think one of the biggest things is having a centralized communication hub. You have your ERP solution that, your staff's using. How do you have a centralized communication for your dispatching team or your logistics team to handle all of that? So not only does a centralized communication hub cut through some of the communication silos, it kind of streamlines interactions between teams. It allows better visibility with all information in one place. It helps reduce communication back and forth. Like Jimmy had mentioned, if the customer calls the sales rep, they can go into the system. They can see what the potential scheduled delivery date is. They can see, is the driver, out for pickup. So all that information, it kind of helps visualize the information as well. It helps reduce, the communication back and forth. McKinsey's done a study about this, and they say that companies that implement such technologies with centralized communication hubs see about a 20 to 25% increase in employee productivity. It also ensures that all your stakeholders, from management to drivers, have all the information. It helps foster transparency. It helps foster efficiency. It also helps you set more metrics, set more KPIs for your dispatching as well as driving team, and you can pull out statistics for those to kind of see how you can further improve on it. The other part of it is tailored alerts. With too many platforms, overwhelming staff, tailored alerts sometimes from the logistics software provide just the right information in the right time. It not only helps reduce the noise, but it ensures critical updates don't get lost in the shuffle. If you use forms with your drivers, alerts can be set up. For example, you have the option if your equipment is damaged or not. So, if you set the equipment damages, yes, you can send out an alert to your service tech. You can send out an alert to your fleet manager to tell them a damaged equipment is coming in, help them prepare ahead of time. And tailored communication can help, reduce time spent by employees, searching for information, trying to see what happened by about 35%, significantly, again, boosting operational efficiency. Subhauler communications, again, is, a major challenge. Subhaulers use their own system. Yes, you can, send out email notifications to your subhaulers with all the information, but how can you ensure that the subhaulers are communicating back to you when something's en route, when something's been completed, without you having to call them or without them having to call or email you and, update you? So having a solution that, sends out an email and also provides a subhauler the option of, starting the load, completing the load, it kind of helps reduce the admin time about 20% according to the industry benchmarks. It also allows, dynamic adjustments, proactive problem solving. So subhaulers, haven't been able to complete something, your customers are calling, you can, push it out to another subhauler, coordinate some of that, or prioritize with the current subhauler to help them, deliver that in time. Document management, like Jimmy said, paperwork overload is notorious for being an efficiency killer. Having different bases, from a filing cabinet to a driver's phone to an email, having a digital documentation management system within a software and linking it to those particular orders automatically, it not only helps reduce your paperwork, but it also, helps improve efficiencies. It helps reduce errors. It helps improve compliance with less to significant to no effort. In the event you need to refer back to an order about a damage claim that's, taken to court, or a damage dispute that's happening 6 months later, you can easily refer back to your order. You can pull out all the attachments. You can pull out all the forms. You can pull out the customer signatures. And, you don't have to spend hours trying to compile that case to your customers. It also helps, teams pull out information as they need for the system. And lastly, e-compliance. Similar to document management, complexities around damage disputes, the regulatory compliance, and all of these can be streamlined into having custom forms. Having the ability to create a custom form to your business needs, be it a pickup form, be it a delivery form, be it a checklist for drivers when they start the day, and having an ability to make it compulsory. So, your driver cannot move from out for pickup to complete without completing a form that allows them to take customer signatures, that allows them to take pictures. It kind of ensures that your drivers aren't forgetting or missing a step. And, it also reduces disruption and resolution times by about 50%. It reduces the administrative burden and ensures you stay in compliance without the administrative burden. And it also, swift resolutions helps maintain trust. It helps reduce potential revenue loss due to having prolonged disputes going out, administrative time, as a matter of fact, as well. And sometimes in cases you can't really, there's hearsay, so you can potentially even have loss of revenue. So having e-compliance, having forms where you can determine what your business exactly needs from each pickup delivery at each job site, it really helps your business, maintain that as well. So these are some of the communications that, you can do across teams and customers to really help with that. Moving on is, in today's fast-paced logistics environment with, fast deliveries and stuff, the ability to make informed decisions is not just an advantage, it's a necessity. So, optimization of logistics operations is not only, crucial for enhancing efficiency, reducing costs, and improving your delivery service. What proactive steps can you take as a business, to evaluate your options, to prepare you to, achieve these end goals? So, there are a couple of optimization tactics that you can work on your side. It's data collection and analysis. Begin gathering, comprehensive data across your operations. This could be transport costs, delivery times, time taken to plan routes. What's the route efficiency been like? What's your driver utilization rate? What's the percentage of subhaulers you use? And by analyzing the data, you can potentially identify patterns, inefficiencies, but also opportunities for optimizations. Businesses can, leverage that information to make more, and also improve your operational decisions that can help with both cost and efficiency. Evaluating your existing process, taking a, more deep dive look into your current processes, assessing what's your routing strategy, what's your route planning, what's the courier selection or scheduling practices. Evaluating these areas can potentially help in pinpointing inefficiencies and areas that are ripe for improvement. And then, seeing where you can streamline this process, how technology can help you. It can help with, identifying significant gains in productivity and potentially even cost savings. Identifying key metrics, like I mentioned earlier, determining what your KPIs would be and what KPIs matter to your logistic operations. This could be metrics like cost per delivery, what's your on-time delivery rate, what's your vehicle utilization rate, determining which metrics you capture today versus what you'd like to see when you'd like to scale. These will provide you more insights and, highlight areas for improvements as well. The next one would be, conducting an audit of your current technology that you use from your logistical operational identifying gaps, identifying the redundancies, understanding capabilities and limitations of your current methods being utilized. And, it'll be important for identifying the needs of, upgrading to new solutions. And, based on the outcome of your technology audit, it might just be time to, invest in a technology upgrade that aligns with your logistical goals. And, you'll be in a better position to understand, how you fit into your, how a software fits into your logistical strategy. So the Win logistics solution, it offers a comprehensive suite of tools designed to address some of these challenges we've discussed today. All of the challenges and solutions we've discussed today is something that we can provide. And if you look into implementing our solution, you won't only see, enhanced efficiency through optimized route planning, dynamic scheduling. You'll also see cost reductions through improved route planning, consolidated loads, and, reduction in manual processes. You'll have data-driven decisions with, real-time analytics, performance metrics at your fingertip, and you'll seamlessly integrate into your RentalResult platform for, a unified logistic operation that ties directly with your ERP. So in essence, our logistics solution is not just a tool, but as always, we aim to be strategic partners in assisting you achieve your, logistic goals and help it grow. We're helping to help empower your business with the ability to make informed decisions, navigate the complexities of modern logistics, and ensure that your operations are not just surviving, but thriving in today's competitive landscape. And if you see potential benefits for your operations that we mentioned today and would like to dwell in deeper into what our logistics solution can offer, please reach out to your sales rep. They're ready to provide, personalized demos and potentially discuss next steps tailored to your potential specific requirements as well. Having said that, do we have any questions out there?
Yeah, Farah, thank you so much for that. And Jimmy, amazing job. You provided so much great information. We have a couple of questions before we wrap up the webinar. To start, and Farah and Jimmy, whoever wants to answer it, feel free. How does this system you mentioned work with various fleet sizes?
So again, there is a lot of scalability. There are customers that, use it for smaller fleets as well. We have customers using it for 2 to 3, trucks and drivers. What it helps with is, helping send the information up front, pin dropping locations for construction sites that may not necessarily exist on the map today, helping get all the compliance information in. With larger, business operations, more locations, you can help, get more into a centralized dispatching plan where your dispatchers have a full visibility of all your operations, sending information out to your drivers. So it can be used from, 2 to 3 drivers to about 100, 200 drivers, depending on your business needs.
Thank you. And then another question, what analytics and metrics does the system provide to help cut costs?
So there are a lot of metrics that, I think the biggest metric that customers use or get out of the system is identifying their subhauling and identifying, driver efficiencies, identifying, whether they can scale down based on their usage or they can scale up. So there are various metrics there are. There are also metrics in, delivery times, turnarounds, trying to identify why are we missing deliveries? Is it because of shortage? Is it because of planning? Or is it just because, we don't have the capacity? So it helps manage that. It helps grow your business. It also helps avoid situations where customers don't want to do business with you because you can't deliver the equipment they need within time periods.
Thank you, Farah. And another question, can we track maintenance per vehicle and equipment?
Yes, you can track the maintenance per vehicle. We do also integrate our vehicles live locations with companies like Samsara. So, Samsara can do most of your tracking, and then we allow Samsara's vehicle tracking to come into the logistics solution for you to be able to see drivers, etc. as well. And within the system itself, you can track your drivers and, add the maintenance on the vehicles, etc. as well if your vehicle's down or if your driver needs to change a vehicle, etc. All of that can be tracked as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Farah. Those are our questions we had from our audience. So thank you so much for dropping those in the Q&A chat. And before we wrap up today, I just wanted to put out a few reminders on what we have going on the rental results side. So we have our bi-monthly Emerald user group, and this is a place where all of our rental result customers can meet and gather, talk about product roadmaps, joint project development. So feel free to scan here and we can get you added to that user group. We also have our monthly rental result newsletter. So this has great information on roadmap again, webinar alerts, blog articles, anything to stay updated and connected with rental results. So if you scan there, you can get added to the newsletter. And just a heads up for our next webinar, it'll be in March, and this will be on empowering your workforce to lay a foundation for success. So in this webinar, we'll help you learn strategies to boost your team performance, streamline processes, and nurture a culture of continuous improvement and growth within your organization. So again, if you scan there, you can register for that webinar. And once the webinar is over, we have a short survey that we'll be sending out. So feel free to provide some feedback there so we can continue to provide the most relevant and valuable feedback or content for you all. So again, thank you, Jimmy and Farah, for leading today's webinar, and have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Take care.